we take you to Newfoundland. Man, you've seen the photos. You've seen the videos of people trying to dig out from the massive snowfall. Well, after the snow, trying to return to normal life this morning, we saw here at CJ 800, somebody in Newfoundland tweet out a photo. And you take a look at this photo, you think you're looking at a Soviet bread line. And it's the lineup at the Sobeys at the grocery store as people try, because, they've been told to get off the roads. You can't be on the roads. They're just trying to get back to normal life. Let's find out what the situation there is in Newfoundland. Joining me on the line, Shannon Reardon in St. John's, Newfoundland. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Elias. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. So we had much interest in the photos you tweeted out this morning from the Sobeys.
Yes.
Before we get to the Sobeys this morning and the chaos, let's talk about your weekend. How did everything play out for you in your home? How did you approach this storm, and what was your moment where you said, "Oh boy"?
Well, that happened pretty quickly. Friday morning, just as it was beginning, I was out with a friend for coffee. Probably shouldn't have been out, and it started to pick up pretty quickly, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we thought, well, we better get home. And so from Friday morning until this morning, Tuesday morning, I hadn't been out of the house. So, and nor was she. So, a lot of people here have been housebound and going a little stir crazy, wanting to get out.
So have you been getting by? Is it really been like, I don't have milk, I gotta call my neighbors and how are you getting by when you can't go to when everything's shut down and the government says you're not allowed on the roads? How are you getting by?
Well, I guess, different people are getting by differently. We were starting to run low, and in some cases I was seeing on Twitter people with babies and with young children were running low on food and formula and things that they needed. So luckily I wasn't in that situation as a parent. I'm not a parent, but, but for me personally and my family, we fared quite well. But I was seeing on Twitter, just I'm sure as you have and others, that it got pretty hairy for some people, and then others, of course, were well stocked. So it varied.
The Costco households. Do you have Costco out there? Do you have big?
We do. We have actually. It's the largest one in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Or it's the most successful. There's some recognition.
Finally, a reason to buy 20 cans of soup at once. Okay.
Yes.
So Shannon, this morning it was a big morning because the grocery stores were finally opening back up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there was some, life to the city and some mobility and able to get around. I walked to the supermarket. It wasn't that far. I didn't bother taking a vehicle. Actually, we're not dug out here at my house. We don't have a snowblower. We should probably invest in one.
All right. So what do you see outside your window? Tell us, right now, even days after the storm hits. What are you seeing out your window?
Oh, it's just mountains of snow. It's like the Rockies. It's just snow. It's incredible.
So when you head to the grocery store today, you walk to the grocery store. Were you expecting to see what you saw, or was it still a shocker?
No, it was a shocker. I was expecting a lot of people. I wasn't expecting so much vehicular traffic or foot traffic.
Yeah.
And when I was in the store, I was told by somebody who works there that there were over 1,000 people in the store at that time. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah.
But it was hard to move around inside there. And
were they, it seemed like from that lineup, how long, but from the time you showed up in the parking lot or you get to the site till you get into the store, how long was that?
You know what? The picture is probably deceptive. The line kept moving pretty quickly.
Okay.
And they were just letting just hordes of people in the store. It was. I was actually surprised that it was moving as quickly as it did.
And was it stocked? When you get in, did they have enough milk for everyone? How was it inside?
It was fairly reasonable. I got there early. It's open from 10 o'clock a.m. to 6 p.m. So I got there about 5 to 10 and walked in around 10 o'clock. And so obviously at that point it was fairly well stocked. I don't know how it is now or how it will be for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we're speaking with Shannon Reardon. She's in St. John's, Newfoundland, and tweeted out some photos of long lineups and people outside trying to get groceries as the grocery stores have opened up finally this morning. Shannon, what have you seen the military? Because we've talked about this on the show earlier today about the military showing up to help out with this nuclear. What's the deal there? How's the military been with you?
Well, I haven't seen any military any members, but I think one great story to come out of it is I think with the military members, Domino's Pizza has been providing them with free food and other people who have been in need. I think I read something like $30,000 in pizza.
Wow.
And I think there's some connection with the military there. They've been fed and kept going. But I haven't seen any myself, but I'm like everybody else, following Twitter like mad, and I've been seeing all the updates therein.
Shannon, I want to ask you if this storm has renewed your faith in like the sense of community, or do you think, as Newfoundlanders, you always had that?
I think it's both. I've always felt that, Newfoundlanders, we're a hardy people and we're good-hearted people, and you're certainly seeing that now in the wake of the storm, people coming together, and it's the sort of silver lining, I guess, of this whole situation and experience is that it has brought people closer together.
Shannon, stay safe, and thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Elias.
All right, that's Shannon Reardon out in St. John's, Newfoundland. And, it brings up a really interesting question. And I got a text message during that interview. What if we come to in 2020 that we don't have enough food in one's home for 2 or 3 days? But I get it, especially nowadays. In the age of instant food delivery using an app, there is less food in my home than there ever has been, right? Because I'm relying on that much more. So it really makes me think about what my preparedness would be in a situation like that. What if you got hit at the last second? They didn't have that much notice that it was going to be that as bad as it was. I'm not talking about 25 centimeters here. You're talking about a meter of snow. Are you ready for that? It's a really interesting question. And, you see these TV shows of people that are, they hoard food and they go and they create bunkers and they get super prepared for apocalypse-like scenarios. And you shake your head and say, man, these people are nuts, like doing all this kind of stuff. But then at the other end, it's like maybe we're not even prepared for just the brief 2 or 3 days here. I mean, imagine that, and you've got kids, right? You got a newborn baby, and you had to deal with that where you're like, hey, we're fine. And then 2 days passes, and then it's a third day where you can't be on the roads and they haven't cleared anything. Boy, I'm sure some panic would set in. And I certainly don't blame anyone in Newfoundland there, because I think it could happen to anyone. Last second kind of stuff. It's sort of like gives a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a refresh of maybe you just want to make sure you're prepared for situations like that.